Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. It is with a heavy heart, and I'm wearing red today, and my heart now is feeling pretty heartbroken. We've lost another one 2 days in a row here. We're actually two in the last 3 days. Charlie Watts, legendary drummer of the Rolling Stones, passed away today of, as of yet, undisclosed illness. He did withdraw from the rehearsals for the upcoming Rolling Stones world tour that has been kind of postponed, obviously, because of COVID, but they were getting ready to go, hopefully do it again. And he actually dropped out a couple of weeks ago. Had to have some kind of procedure done. Apparently everything was okay, and then boom, he's gone. So as of yet, we don't have any word on exactly what happened. But born Charles Robert Watts, June 2nd, 1941, in Bloomsbury, London, England. He dies on August 24th, 2021, at the age of 80. Still living in London, England. I think it goes without saying that anytime you lose a member of a truly legendary band, it's going to be hard for just about anybody. Because, most people that I've ever come into contact with have some sort of relationship with the music of the Rolling Stones. And Charlie Watts has been the backbone, of that music for 50 some odd years. I mean, a long, long time. Would have been approaching 60 years soon. I mean, the Rolling Stones have just been a constant throughout most of our lives. And, it's funny, I remember, and it was probably like maybe about 15 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, I was at previous place where I was living, another gym that I was going to at the time. I got friendly with this guy who was also a big music fan, but he was a huge Rolling Stones fan. And he used to tell me day in and day out about how Charlie Watts was one of the greatest drummers of all time that nobody ever gave credit to. And I always used to, kind of be like, oh yeah, Charlie's cool. I love the Stones. Charlie's cool, whatever. But I never really kind of gave it much thought. Because of, I guess, the nature of the Rolling Stones music. I mean, Charlie's just kind of always sitting there in this very minimal kit, kind of bobbing his head and with that always that pleasant look on his face, standing straight up, perfect posture, just keeping the beat. And you know what? After having those conversations, I would go back and I would start listening to some of these classic Rolling Stones albums. I mean, like Beggar's Banquet and Let It Bleed, and of course, I love the late 60s, early 70s stuff. Exile on Main Street, of course, Sticky Fingers, right? Goat's Head Soup, Aftermath, and then of course the great Some Girls, their huge comeback, Tattoo You. Here we're going to the 80s. Of course, the great live album, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. And there, and speaking of the devil, right, there he is. And there in the back on every song, always there, always in the pocket, tight as can be, is Charlie Watts. And it's amazing how when you really stop to think about it and really start to listen to the music of the Rolling Stones, and even Bill Wyman too, back on the especially, all the classic era stuff. I mean, these two guys were, it was always Jagger and Keith out front, getting all the attention, right? And then, you had Mick Taylor, then Ronnie Wood, and, various keyboard players over the years. But man, Charlie was the backbone of everything. And it's like if you just stop and listen to a lot of those great rock and roll songs from the Rolling Stones all throughout the years, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, so on and so forth. And you really, you really listen and stop, tune out the guitars and the vocals for a second. And there you have that little drum machine in the back. I mean, the guy who was always right on the money, always in the pocket. And while, he was not, not the big bombastic guy like Keith Moon, flailing away and all that kind of stuff. Not the big heavy hitter like John Bonham. Right? We can name all the great drummers over, throughout the history of rock and roll. But there you got Charlie Watts, just keeping time, doing it well, holding all those songs together, keeping the mayhem that was the Rolling Stones in line. Something to be said about that. It's true greatness that we got from Charlie Watts for all those years. Never the guy to win Best Drummer of the Year polls or anything like that. Never the guy to take these long drum solos and, me. No, but Charlie always there, keeping everything under wraps, keeping everything exactly as it should be. In the pocket, delivering night after night, tour after tour, week after week, album after album. That one constant, Charlie Watts, always. It's kind of hard now that we lose Charlie. The rest of the guys in the band he's the oldest one, right? Was the oldest one, currently still in the band. So you have to wonder, how much longer the Stones go on for at this point. Do they have this one more tour left in them? Do they do it without Charlie? Don't they? A lot of money to be made on a Rolling Stones tour. But it's going to be tough for them without Charlie sitting on the kit. A guy who has, he beat cancer back almost 20 years ago. Beat throat cancer. He beat the dreaded H demon, right? He had a bout with that in the 80s. Beat that. Couldn't beat his own mortality, though, which will be the case for all of us, right? But yeah, he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed. Just that rock solid guy that you think Rolling Stones, yeah, Jagger and Keith, Mick and Keith are the guys. They're the face of the band. But the heart and soul, the backbeat of the band was always Charlie Watts. He's going to be missed. And he leaves us today at age 80. Man, we're losing too many of them. Rest in peace, Charlie. Man, you were one of the greats. You deserve everything. All the accolades that you got or didn't get. You were the man, always in and all around and all about within one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, the Rolling Stones. Charlie Watts, rest in peace, leaves us at age 80, August 24th, 2021, born 1941. So Charlie Watts, rest in peace, my man. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Hopefully we don't have to do another one of these anytime soon because these are getting tougher and tougher. But they're inevitable, I guess. But yeah, Charlie Watts. Everybody go out and listen to some Rolling Stones today. That's kind of what it's going to be all about here. So yeah, Charlie, we'll miss you. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.